Hi, I'm Seamless, and this is part two of the Modern Music Business series where I'm going to talk to you about the label architecture. What you want to do when the first step you want to make in selling your music to the world now that you've made your music. I would be sick when I'm doing this. I did just come back from Florida, so airplane sickness, here I come. This is what happens when I don't leave a room for 16 hours a day. Whew. Anyway, labels are a middleman between your music and a listener that wants to find your music. It's a vestige of a system that existed before search engines really could find whatever you wanted if you knew enough about how to search about what you want, and before things like Spotify and Pandora and SoundCloud existed, and YouTube even to help making finding that stuff even easier. So the question usually comes up: what is the real value of a label? The value of a label is mostly sort of a tribalistic nature that listeners have when they find an artist they like, because they want to find more when they inevitably run out of content they like from the artist of that kind of content. And what are they going to do but search the label that artist is on to find more similar works? That's just the first step. That's just how that happens. These days, the more modern idea of a label is like the YouTube promo channel, where like you go to a particular one that's a particular style and you just keep going back to find more of that style. So if you want to get your song that is that style in front of people who want to see that style, that's where you want to put your stuff. The submission process to those guys is basically the same thing as a label, because as far as I can tell, they take basically our labels. You can think of them as YouTube labels. And a lot of them have strung out from being a YouTube label to being an actual label in the realist sense, doing tours even and setting up larger things for their largest acts. That's about as much as you can ask about for a label, so, good job them. And the submission process is as follows: find out what they want you to, they want you to submit your stuff, and do exactly what they say, word by word. Do not do anything differently. You don't want to be remembered as the guy that spam emailed the A&R rep because you thought you'd be clever by showing initiative. They don't know. It's not what they want. It's not what they want, because, and it's a little bit like the problem of a modern person trying to find work and seeing that everything requires a college degree. Why is that a thing? And it's mostly a thing because so many people are finding work that enough of them have college degrees that that's just a wonderful way to narrow down to a particular subset of individuals that they think are going to work the best. And this is what they look for now, because if you're going to try and make money selling any kind of music that you're doing, it's probably a musical genre that's somewhat popular, which means you're going to have unimaginably stiff competition, especially in the extremely popular genres. Not for nothing, because some of them tend to be really easy, and that means just about anybody can get in there. And if that's true, that means what do you offer besides your music? Because chances are someone else is doing the same thing or better. Unless like you're just killing it. Like if you're killing it so hard that your value is obvious to anyone who sets eyes on your music, then none of this matters to you. You're just going to be fine. But assuming you're just making a regular expectation of what is the music you like, then the way forward is to differentiate yourself by being the consummate professional, much like with the gigging idea. You want to be easy to work with. You want to be presentable and an individual that is shown to be, I want to do this thing we're doing and do it well, and then when we're done doing it, do it again. That's what labels want to see. They want to see someone that can produce. And you do this by having as much of your package done yourself as you can before you even talk to a label. Make your EP, have your tracks, have your art, have your like logo and your name and your color scheme, have all your social media, have all this stuff coordinated, all about it, have it all ready to go. Do your mixing, do your mastering, or at least have it done before you show it to the label. Don't make any of that their problem, and they will love you because you have given them the most completed and done product. And like have yourself your own gigging schedule even. That would love you even more for that, but chances are they also have contacts about finding individuals who want to get your shows. So that's because that's just part of it's a very important overlap in selling music. So that's how you want to get on the label. Now, once you're on the label, what can you expect? What a label does is essentially find like the pools of people who want to find your music the fastest. And so you want to you produce the stuff you give to them, and then it's their job to essentially provide the value to you. And the value that they provide to you is all these people who already want to see your stuff, and then the value you provide to them is the stuff they want to see. That's a pretty equitable relationship, and for the most part, you can expect at least a 50-50 cut of your stuff. You can ask for more, and you probably would get more. In fact, the easiest way to get better deals is to ask for them. Like, they're not gonna murder you over asking for new terms. You can do that, and also any advice you've ever heard about someone being have your a lawyer read a contract, you absolutely should do that. It might not be practical in terms of how life works and expenses and whatnot, but if it's all possible, you absolutely should. just to have things like, nice and good. And for, hey, they might be able to recommend specifically what to ask for in terms of better terms. So that's a nice thing to have on your side, because this is a business, remember? Yeah. So once you do that, you sell the stuff up, you do the promos, you do the interviews, and they set up also, like, their big thing is that they have connections with publications. Certain publications and certain blogs or whatever don't take submissions from anything that aren't labels. Things like UKF, for example, I don't believe accept personalized submissions, so they have to only accept only submissions from other labels. And so, for some of those larger, sort of more expansive exposure networks, you have to already have been some on the label to get there. So that's a good, network to do. Doing that sometimes costs money, and that is the expense to be incurred by the label. That's their job. But paying it back is as much a percentage as whatever your cut is. If you are getting back 50-50, then you pay half of the expenses, and they pay half the expenses. It's all determined in your contract and specifics and whatever. It's kind of the basic deal they kind of accept. And that's once that's paid up, then you get to actually get the money that you make on your track. That takes a bit longer than you might expect, because I have to ask, when was the last time anyone here has paid for music? And when was that not, like, in person at a merch from someone at a show? That is the reality of selling music now. And a lot about what that means about being on a label and why it's valuable to even expose your music at all has to do with the next video in the series, which is making money on the internet, and how all of that works around, like, advertising, essentially. But in the basic, like, musical sales world, how does that... actually, it's 2 videos later, because the next one's about doing all this without labels. But actually, I guess that's the next video. Making money on the internet by yourself without labels. Good on me. It'll all make sense. Trust me. Anyway, I personally have a very dim idea of what it is to make, like, actual money selling actual music. It's not to say that you can't. It's a numbers game. Just keep doing it until you make enough. They eventually make enough. But a lot of the money you're gonna make, actually, even when you're on a label, is gonna now come from these extra internet sources and licensing deals and that kind of thing, because regular music sales have stopped cutting it a long time ago. Yeah. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and stick around for the next video where we talk about basically the same thing we just talked about, but doing the same thing without labels. This is where I stop the recording.